Good evening, my dear magical friends and lovers of the wizarding world. Welcome to a gentle, enchanting exploration of the magical creatures that whisper from the shadows of the Forbidden Forest, the ancient woods that border the grounds of Hogwarts. Tonight, we'll step into this realm of mystery and wonder, sharing tales of beings both majestic and misunderstood, drawn from the lore of Harry Potter. So, find a cozy spot, perhaps curled up in a soft blanket by a flickering candle, or nestled in bed with a warm mug of chamomile tea, and let the day's worries fade away like mist in the moonlight. Imagine the soft rustle of leaves underfoot, the faint glow of fireflies dancing in the undergrowth, and the distant hoot of an owl calling through the trees. We'll wander together into these stories, where the magic of the forest unfolds in whispers that evoke the quiet beauty of the wizarding world's hidden inhabitants. The Forbidden Forest is more than a dark wood. It's a living, breathing tapestry of magic, a place where the boundaries between the human world and the wild blur. For centuries, it has stood as a guardian to Hogwarts, its ancient trees woven with spells that protect the school from intruders and preserve the secrets within. In the Harry Potter books, this forest is a realm of both peril and profound beauty, home to creatures that challenge our understanding of the wizarding world. From the proud Hippogriffs that soar through the canopy, to the ethereal Thestrals that glide silently in the night, each being has a story that whispers of harmony, loyalty, and the untamed power of nature. We'll explore them one by one, drawing from J.K. Rowling's vivid descriptions, Pottermore's deeper insights, and the canon that has captivated us all. These tales are crafted to soothe, to evoke the quiet wonder of the wizarding world without the rush of excitement, helping you unwind and relax as we delve into the forest's calming embrace. If you've joined us before, perhaps in our cozy tour of daily life at Hogwarts, you'll find this a natural extension, a chance to venture just beyond the castle gates. Let's begin by setting the scene, pulling you deeper into this enchanted realm. Imagine standing at the edge of the Forbidden Forest, the massive oaks and beeches looming like silent sentinels, their branches interlaced to form a canopy that filters the moonlight into silver shafts on the forest floor. The ground is soft with a carpet of fallen leaves and moss, cushioning each step with a faint crunch that echoes softly in the still air. The scent is earthy and alive, pine needles, damp soil, and a hint of wild herbs carried on a gentle breeze. Fireflies hover in the undergrowth, their lights twinkling like tiny spells cast by invisible hands, illuminating patches of ferns and glowing fungi that line the paths. In the distance, you hear the soft rustle of leaves, the occasional snap of a twig, and the low hoot of an owl perched high in the branches. This is no ordinary wood. It's a place where magic runs wild, untamed by wands or incantations. Forbidden to students for good reason, its depths hold dangers like the Acromantula colony or wandering trolls. Yet it's also a sanctuary of beauty, where unicorns graze in hidden glades and centaurs gaze at the stars for omens. Pottermore reveals that the forest is ancient, its trees enchanted since the founding of Hogwarts to harbor creatures that thrive in seclusion, a balance of light and shadow that mirrors the wizarding world itself. As we step further in, the forest's whispers grow clearer, each creature a thread in its vast tapestry. Our path leads us first to the Hippogriffs, those proud guardians of the skies. These magnificent beings, with the fierce head and wings of an eagle fused to the powerful body of a horse, embody grace and honor. In Prisoner of Azkaban, Buckbeak teaches Harry the art of respect. Bow deeply, maintain eye contact, and wait for the creature to return the gesture before approaching. Imagine encountering one in a moonlit clearing, its feathers ruffled by the night breeze, its talons scraping softly against the earth as it shifts its weight. The air around it carries a musky scent, wild and free, and as it spreads its wings, the faint rush of air stirs the leaves nearby. Hippogriffs are loyal once trust is earned, their eyes sharp and knowing, reflecting the stars above. Pottermore classifies them as XXX beasts, competent for skilled wizards, but demanding of courtesy. Picture a hippogriff nesting high in a tree, its young chirping softly under the protective fold of its wings, the mother's gaze watchful but calm. Their presence in the forest speaks to the wild freedom that thrives here, a reminder that respect unlocks the doors to deeper connections. From the heights of the Hippogriffs, our whispers shift to the Thestrals, those invisible companions that pull the Hogwarts carriages each year. These skeletal horses, with leathery, bat-like wings and milky eyes, are visible only to those who have witnessed death, a detail that adds a layer of poignancy. As Luna Lovegood explains to Harry in Order of the Phoenix, imagine them grazing in a misty glade deep in the forest, their hoofbeats muffled on the damp ground, their wings folding with a soft, leathery rustle. The air around them is cool and still, carrying a faint, ethereal scent, like fog rising from a lake at dawn. Thestrals are often misunderstood, seen as omens of ill fortune due to their gaunt appearance, but they are gentle and intelligent, able to navigate great distances without guidance. Pottermore notes their rarity and their role in wizarding transportation, a symbol of moving forward through loss. Envision riding a Thestral through the night, the wind whispering in your ears, the creature's gait smooth and steady, carrying you safely through the dark. Their presence is calming, a bridge between the seen and unseen, inviting reflections on life's deeper mysteries. Deeper still, the unicorns bring a pure, luminous light to our path. These elegant creatures, with coats as white as fresh snow and horns that spiral like polished silver, embody innocence and healing. In Philosopher's Stone, Harry encounters a slain unicorn in the forest, its blood a cursed elixir, highlighting their sacred nature. Imagine spotting one in a moonlit clearing, its hoofsteps silent on the moss-covered ground, its mane shimmering like a veil of starlight. The air around it glows faintly, scented with wildflowers and fresh dew, as if the forest itself holds its breath in reverence. Unicorns are shy and solitary, preferring the quiet glades where they can graze undisturbed, their horns prized for wands and potions due to their purifying properties. Pottermore classifies them as XXX beasts, beautiful but fierce if threatened. Picture a unicorn drinking from a crystal-clear stream, the water rippling softly under its touch, its presence filling the glade with a serene peace that chases away shadows. Their light pierces the forest's darkness, a beacon of purity that soothes the soul. The Centaurs, wise wanderers of the woods, guide our next steps with their rhythmic presence. Half human, half horse, they roam in herds, their bodies powerful and their minds attuned to the stars. In Order of the Phoenix, Ferenzi breaks from his herd to teach at Hogwarts, his voice deep and resonant as he shares celestial prophecies. Imagine a centaur in a starry clearing, hooves shifting softly on the earth, his human torso adorned with beads that clink gently in the breeze. The air carries the scent of pine and herbs, their chants a low hum blending with the night wind. Centaurs are proud and independent, refusing to be classified as beings by the ministry to avoid human entanglements, as Pottermore explains. Skilled in astronomy and healing, they read the stars for omens, their knowledge ancient and vast. Envision joining a centaur under the canopy, gazing at constellations that whisper fates, the ground cool and grounding beneath you. Their wisdom flows like the forest streams, offering clarity in the quiet. Even the acromantulas, shadows in the depths, add their intricate patterns to our wonder. These giant spiders, with legs that click softly and webs that glisten like dew-kissed silk, dwell in the forest's heart. In Chamber of Secrets, Aragog, Hagrid's loyal friend, leads a colony, their intelligence shining through in his conversations with Harry. Imagine their webs spanning a dark glade, the strands vibrating faintly with the night's breeze, the air thick with earth and silk. Acromantulas are clever hunters, speaking in clicks and hisses, classified as X beasts for their size and venom. Pottermore describes their social structure, loyal to their own. Picture them weaving under moonlight, the web's pattern intricate and purposeful, their presence a reminder of nature's balance and loyalty. Their threads connect the forest's web of life, a subtle harmony in the dark. Tiny wonders like bowtruckles bring whimsy to our path. These twig-like creatures, guardians of wandwood trees, cling to branches with long fingers, scratching softly on bark. In Fantastic Beasts, they're noted for their shyness, but fierceness in protection. Imagine one blending into a tree, its eyes beady and watchful, the air scented with wood and leaves. Classified as XX beasts, they're harmless unless their tree is threatened. Picture holding one gently, its touch light and tickling, the forest alive with small, hidden magics. Their presence highlights the magic in the mundane, a delicate balance. Rare visitors like dragons add awe to our journey. Though not native, they occasionally roam the edges, their scaled bodies gleaming, wings folding with a leathery rustle. In Goblet of Fire, the tri-wizard dragons showcase their might, but imagine a wild one nesting, its breath warm but distant. Pottermore lists species like the Norwegian ridgeback, Hagrid's Norbert, a fond memory. Picture the heat of their presence, softened by the forest's balance, their majesty inspiring visions of flight. As we continue deeper, the forest's whispers reveal more, each creature a note in its symphony, guiding us through the night. As we venture beyond the edge, the forest envelops us in its ancient embrace, a realm where every leaf and shadow holds a secret. The trees stand tall and timeless, their trunks thick as castle pillars, bark etched with runes from spells long forgotten. Oaks, beeches, and yews intertwine their branches overhead, forming a canopy so dense that only slivers of moonlight pierce through, casting silvery pools on the forest floor. The ground beneath our feet is a soft tapestry of moss, fallen leaves, and ferns that cushion each step, muffling sounds to a whisper. The air is cool and alive, carrying the earthy aroma of damp soil, mixed with the sharp tang of pine resin and the subtle sweetness of wild berries hidden in the underbrush. In the Harry Potter books, this forest is a place of profound mystery, bordering Hogwarts and serving as both a barrier and a sanctuary. It's where Harry first encounters the Centaurs in Philosopher's Stone, their warnings echoing like the wind through the trees. Pottermore describes it as one of the oldest magical forests in Britain, enchanted since the school's founding to harbour creatures that thrive in its seclusion, a living entity that shifts and breathes with the magic of the wizarding world. Imagine pausing in a small clearing, the moonlight filtering down to illuminate glowing fungi that cling to tree roots, their soft luminescence pulsing like tiny heartbeats. The fungi, perhaps relatives of the devil's snare or luminescent mushrooms mentioned in herbology texts, cast a gentle blue-green light that dances across the bark. The breeze stirs the leaves above, creating a rustling symphony that sounds like whispers, secrets shared between the trees. Snap a twig underfoot, and the sound echoes faintly, absorbed by the dense foliage, reminding you of the forest's vastness. This is a place where time seems to slow, where the hustle of Hogwarts fades into the background, replaced by nature's quiet rhythm. In Chamber of Secrets, Ron and Harry venture here in the flying car, crashing into the whomping willow at the edge. But deeper in, the forest reveals its true character, a balance of light and shadow, where danger lurks, but beauty prevails. The enchantment woven into its roots prevents muggles from wandering too far, their eyes seeing only impenetrable darkness, while wizards feel the pull of its magic, a subtle hum that vibrates through the ground. The forest's inhabitants contribute to its whispering realm, their presence felt even when unseen. Listen closely, and you might hear the distant patter of tiny feet, perhaps a bowtruckle scampering up a tree, its twig-like body blending seamlessly with the branches. These small guardians, as detailed in Pottermore, protect wandwood trees like wand-quality rowan or elder, their long fingers scratching softly against the bark as they ward off intruders. The air around them carries a woody scent, fresh and resinous, like the heart of a living tree. Or perhaps the faint chitter of a clabber, those frog-like creatures with webbed hands and a pouch that glows red to warn of approaching muggles. In Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, they're classified as XX beasts, harmless but clever. Their sounds a soft, rhythmic croak that blends with the forest's chorus. These smaller beings form the underlayer of the forest's whispers, their movements a gentle reminder that magic thrives in all sizes, from the grand to the minuscule. Deeper paths lead to glades where the whispers grow more profound. The Centaurs, those noble hybrids of human and horse, roam these areas, their hooves thudding softly on the earth as they gaze skyward. In Order of the Phoenix, Firenze shares their astronomical wisdom with Harry, his voice deep and resonant, echoing the forest's own timbre. Imagine a herd in a starry clearing, their muscular bodies shifting weight, beads in their hair clinking faintly like wind chimes. The air here is scented with herbs they gather for healing, lavender for calm, sage for clarity. Their chants a low hum that vibrates through the ground. Centaurs refuse human classifications, as Pottermore explains, choosing to live by their own codes, interpreting the stars for omens that guide their paths. Their presence adds a layer of ancient knowledge to the forest. Their whispers not just sounds, but prophecies woven into the night. Yet, the forest's realm also holds shadows that whisper of caution. The acromantulas, massive spiders with webs spanning glades, create intricate patterns that glisten with dew under moonlight. In Chamber of Secrets, Aragog's colony reveals their intelligence, speaking in clicks and hisses to Harry and Ron. The air near their lairs is thicker, scented with silk and earth, the strands of their webs vibrating softly with the breeze or the scuttle of smaller prey. Classified as XX beasts, they're fierce hunters, but their loyalty to Hagrid, who raised Aragog, shows a deeper side. Picture the web's delicate threads, strong as steel, humming faintly as the spiders weave, a reminder of nature's balance, where even predators have their place. Unicorns bring light to these shadows, their pure forms gliding through hidden clearings. With coats shimmering white and horns spiraling like silver, they embody healing and innocence. In Philosopher's Stone, Voldemort's attack on one highlights their sacred blood, cursed to those who slay them. The air around a unicorn glows faintly, scented with wildflowers, their hoofsteps silent on the moss. Pottermore notes their XX classification, beautiful yet defensive. Imagine one pausing to drink from a stream, the water rippling softly, its presence chasing away the darkness. Thestrals add an ethereal layer to the whispers, their skeletal frames and bat wings visible only to those touched by death. In Order of the Phoenix, Luna describes them as kind, not omens of ill. Picture them in a misty hollow, hooves padding softly, wings folding with a leathery sigh. The air is cool like fog at dawn, their gait steady. Rare and intelligent, they navigate the skies, as Pottermore details, symbols of acceptance. Hippogriffs soar above, their eagle cries piercing the canopy, proud and honorable as Buckbeak shows in Prisoner of Azkaban. They demand respect. Imagine one perched on a branch, feathers ruffling, talons gripping bark with a soft scrape. The air stirs with their musky scent, wings spreading in a rush. XX beasts, their loyal allies once bowed to. Bowtruckles and clabberts flit among the branches, their small forms adding delicate notes. Bowtruckles scratch bark softly, guarding trees, while clabberts croak warnings. These XX creatures, per Pottermore, highlight the forest's intricate web. Dragons, rare visitors, rumble in distant caves, their scales gleaming, breath warm. In Goblet of Fire, their power is evident, but here they nest peacefully. As we delve deeper, the forest's whispers reveal layers of life, each creature a voice in its eternal song, guiding us onward through the night. As the forest's ancient trees give way to a sun-dappled clearing, our whispers turn to the hippogriffs, those majestic beings that command both earth and air with equal grace. These creatures, a harmonious blend of eagle and horse, stand tall in the wizarding lore, their presence a testament to the forest's wild nobility. With the fierce, hooked beak and piercing eyes of an eagle atop the muscular body and powerful legs of a horse, hippogriffs embody a duality that captivates the imagination. Their feathers shimmer in shades of grey, brown, or chestnut, transitioning seamlessly into sleek fur, and their wings, broad and feathered, span wide enough to cast shadows over the forest floor. In Prisoner of Azkaban, Harry meets Buckbeak, a hippogriff whose proud demeanor teaches a vital lesson in respect and etiquette. Pottermore classifies them as X6 beasts, meaning they require skilled handling. But once trust is earned, they become loyal allies, capable of carrying riders through the skies with effortless power. Imagine approaching a hippogriff in a quiet glade, the ground soft with grass and scattered leaves, the air carrying the musky scent of feathers and earth. The creature stands regal, its talons digging lightly into the soil with a faint scrape, its head held high as it surveys the surroundings. The breeze ruffles its feathers, creating a soft rustling sound, like wind through sails, and its eyes, sharp and golden, lock onto yours, assessing your intent. To interact safely, one must bow deeply, maintaining eye contact without blinking, waiting for the hippogriff to return the gesture. If offended, they can be fierce, their beaks snapping with a sharp click, or their wings unfurling in a rush of air that stirs the leaves. But when honored, they lower their head gracefully, allowing a gentle stroke along their neck, where the feathers are soft and warm like velvet under your fingers. In the books, Hagrid introduces them in Care of Magical Creatures class, emphasizing this protocol. And Buckbeak's bond with Harry shows their capacity for deep loyalty. Hippogriffs nest high in the forest's trees or rocky outcrops, their homes woven from branches and feathers, cushioned with moss for their young. Picture a nest perched on a sturdy oak limb, the mother hippogriff folding her wings with a leathery sigh, her eaglet chirping softly, its downy feathers fluffy and pale. The air around the nest is fresh, scented with pine from the surrounding trees, and the faint coo of the chick blends with the forest's whispers. These creatures are omnivores, hunting small mammals or grazing on grasses, their talons clutching prey with precision, or their beaks nipping at tender shoots. Pottermore notes their origins trace back to medieval wizarding folklore, symbols of nobility and strength, often featured in coats of arms. In the wizarding world, they're used for transportation, their flight smooth and swift, cutting through the air with powerful wing beats that create a rhythmic whoosh, like waves on a shore. Their role in the forest is one of guardians, patrolling the skies above the canopy, their keen eyes spotting intruders from afar. Imagine one circling overhead, its shadow gliding over the ground, the wind from its wings stirring fallen leaves into a soft whirlwind. The sound is a gentle rush, not alarming, but majestic, as if the forest itself is breathing. In Goblet of Fire, hippogriffs appear in the Tri-Wizard tournament, but here in the wild, they live freely, forming small herds that communicate with sharp cries or bowed greetings. Their feathers, molted seasonally, are prized for quills or potions, but harvesting them requires the creature's consent. a nod to their proud nature. Hagrid's affection for Buckbeak in the books highlights this bond, showing that with patience, even the fiercest can become friends. The Hippogriffs' life cycle adds to their lore, from eggs the size of a quaffle, hatching into eaglets that learn to fly within weeks, their first flaps tentative but growing strong. Picture a young hippogriff teetering on a branch, its wings spreading with a soft flap, the air stirring lightly as it leaps into the void, guided by its parents' encouraging cry. The forest provides, with streams for drinking, water rippling softly under their beaks, and clearings for grazing, the grass crunching faintly. Pottermore details their migratory habits in wild populations, but Hogwarts' herd, like Buckbeak's, stays rooted, tied to the school's magic. In Wizarding Society, they symbolize chivalry, often depicted in tapestries or stories where knights befriend them for quests. Their interactions with other creatures enrich the forest's harmony. Centaurs respect their aerial domain, sharing the skies in uneasy truce, while unicorns graze nearby, their light complementing the hippogriff's strength. Imagine a hippogriff landing near a unicorn glade, talons folding softly, the two creatures nodding in mutual acknowledgement, the air shimmering with combined magic. In Deathly Hallows, the forest's creatures play roles in the battle. But here, in peace, they coexist, their whispers a shared language of the wild. Hippogriffs also teach lessons of balance, their dual nature reflecting the wizarding world's blend of ferocity and grace. In Hagrid's class, students learn to approach with humility, a metaphor for handling magic itself. Picture practicing the bow, your head lowering, the hippogriff's eyes meeting yours, the moment stretching in quiet tension before it bows back, its feathers brushing the ground with a soft swish. The reward is profound, a ride through the canopy, the wind rushing past, leaves whispering below, the creature's muscles rippling under you. The air is crisp, scented with freedom, the flight a dance of trust. Their vulnerabilities add depth, sensitive to insults. They can lash out with talons or beak, a snap echoing sharply. Yet, their healing is swift, feathers regrowing with moonlight baths, as folklore suggests. In the books, Buckbeak's escape with Sirius shows their role in justice, their loyalty unbreakable. As we linger in the clearing, the hippogriff takes flight, wings beating with a rhythmic whoosh, ascending through the trees. The air stirs, leaves fluttering down like confetti, the creature's cry a distant echo. This proud guardian leaves us with a sense of elevation, its story lifting our spirits as we move deeper toward the invisible companions that glide through the night. From the soaring heights where hippogriffs claim the skies, our path through the forbidden forest leads us into mistier hollows where the whispers turn to the Thestrals, those enigmatic, invisible companions that glide through the shadows with an otherworldly grace. These creatures, often shrouded in misunderstanding, are skeletal horses with bat-like wings, their bodies gaunt and black, eyes milky white like polished pearls. Their leathery skin stretches taut over bones that seem carved from obsidian, and their wings, vast and membranous, fold with a soft, almost imperceptible sigh. In Order of the Phoenix, Harry first sees them after Cedric's death, their visibility tied to those who have witnessed mortality. A poignant detail that Luna Lovegood explains with her characteristic calm wisdom. Pottermore classifies them as XXX beasts, rare and requiring respect, but they are gentle guides, not harbingers of doom as folklore sometimes claims. Their presence in the forest is one of quiet vigilance, pulling the Hogwarts carriages each year, unseen by most, yet essential to the school's rhythms. Imagine wandering into a foggy glade deep in the woods, the ground damp and springy underfoot, covered in a layer of mist that swirls like silk around your ankles. The air is cool and still, carrying a faint, ethereal scent, like dew on ancient stones, or the crispness of a pre-dawn fog rising from the Black Lake. The Thestrals gather here, grazing on invisible patches of grass or nuzzling the earth with muzzles that part softly, their breath warm but silent. Their hoofbeats are muffled, a soft padding that blends with the forest's whispers, as if they move on cushions of air. Wings occasionally unfurl with a leathery rustle, like parchment unfolding in a quiet library, stirring the mist into eddies that dance around their forms. To those who can see them, their skeletal frames evoke a haunting beauty, bones gleaming faintly in the moonlight. But there's no fear, only a profound sense of peace, as if they carry the weight of sorrow and transform it into serenity. Thestrals are masters of the night, their dark coats blending seamlessly with the shadows, making them near invisible, even to those who can perceive them. They navigate the forest with unerring instinct, their milky eyes seeing paths unseen by others, guided by an inner compass honed over generations. In the books, they transport students from Hogsmeade Station to the castle, their harnesses jingling faintly as they trot, the carriages rolling smoothly behind. Luna describes them as not unlucky, just a bit special. And indeed, their loyalty shines through. Once bonded, they follow commands with quiet obedience, their wings carrying riders aloft in silent flight. Pottermore notes their intelligence, able to understand human speech and find destinations across vast distances without maps or spells. Imagine mounting one, your hands gripping the bony withers, the creature's skin cool and leathery under your palms. As it takes off, the wings spread with a soft whoosh, the air rushing past in a gentle stream, the forest below blurring into a tapestry of greens and silvers. Their life in the forest is one of seclusion, nesting in hidden dells where the mist provides cover. Their young, foals with downy wings, learning to fly under the watchful eyes of the herd. Picture a Thestral mare nuzzling her foal, the little one's wings fluttering tentatively, creating a faint breeze that stirs nearby ferns. The air around the nest is serene, scented with damp earth and faint wildflowers. The sounds limited to soft nickers, low, rumbling whinnies that resonate like distant thunder muffled by clouds. Thestrals feed on raw meat, hunting small prey with precision, their talons sharp but rarely used aggressively, snatching with a quick snap. Yet, they're herbivores in spirit, grazing on grasses when possible, their muzzles parting softly to crop the blades. In Deathly Hallows, they aid in the battle, their wings carrying allies through chaos, showcasing their bravery despite their gentle nature. Thestral's invisibility adds layers to their lore, a metaphor for grief and perception in the wizarding world. Only those touched by death can see them, as Harry learns after Cedric's fall, a detail that deepens their symbolic role. Pottermore explains this as a magical adaptation, allowing them to evade predators while serving as psychopomps, guides between worlds. In folklore, they're linked to omens, but Rowling portrays them as benevolent, their presence comforting rather than ominous. Imagine standing in the glade, unable to see them at first, but feeling their breath, a warm puff against your skin, and hearing the soft shift of their weight. For those who can perceive, their forms emerge like shadows solidifying, bones outlined in moonlight, wings draped like cloaks. This duality invites reflection. The creatures quiet a space for thoughts to wander. Their interactions with other forest dwellers enrich the ecosystem. Centaurs view them with wary respect, sharing the night sky's in truce, while unicorns graze nearby, their light contrasting the Thestrals' darkness. Picture a Thestral approaching a unicorn stream, hooves padding softly, the two nodding in silent acknowledgement, the air shimmering with combined auras. Hippogriffs soar above, their cries echoing, while bowtruckles chatter from trees, the Thestrals ignoring the small guardians. In Half-Blood Prince, Hagrid tends them, his rough voice cooing gently, highlighting their bond with caretakers. Thestrals' vulnerabilities, sensitive to loud noises, their wings fragile in storms, add tenderness to their strength. They heal with rest in misty hollows, their bones mending under moonlight, as lore suggests. In the books, they ferry the wounded, their loyalty unbreakable. As we linger in the glade, a Thestral lifts its head, wings unfolding with a leathery sigh, taking flight in a graceful arc. The mist swirls in its wake, the air stirring softly, the creature vanishing into the night. This invisible companion leaves us with a sense of quiet guidance, its story a bridge to the luminous beings that pierce the shadows ahead. As the ethereal whispers of the Thestrals fade into the mist-shrouded hollows, our path through the forbidden forest brightens with a luminous glow, leading us to the unicorns, those embodiments of purity and grace that pierce the shadows with their radiant presence. These creatures, revered in wizarding lore for their ethereal beauty, stand as beacons of innocence amid the forest's deeper mysteries. Their forms a stark contrast to the darker beings that dwell nearby, with coats as white as untouched snow, shimmering with an inner light that seems to defy the surrounding gloom, and horns that spiral upward like polished silver threads catching moonlight. Unicorns evoke a sense of profound serenity. Their eyes are deep and knowing, pools of liquid silver that reflect the stars, and their manes flow like cascades of silk, swaying gently with each graceful step. In Philosopher's Stone, Harry witnesses the tragic slaying of a unicorn, its silver blood spilling onto the forest floor, a cursed elixir that grants life but dooms the drinker to a half-existence. Pottermore classifies them as XX beasts, denoting their beauty and the fierce protection they warrant. Creatures that are not aggressive by nature, but will defend themselves with surprising strength when threatened. Imagine gliding into a secluded glade, hidden within the forest's heart. The ground soft with a carpet of moss and wildflowers that seem to bloom eternally under the unicorn's influence. The air here is purer, almost shimmering, carrying a delicate scent of fresh dew, mingled with the subtle sweetness of blooming lilies and the clean, crisp aroma of mountain streams. The mist parts as if in reverence, revealing a unicorn standing in the center, its coat glowing faintly, casting a soft halo that illuminates the surrounding ferns and tree trunks. Its hoofsteps are nearly silent, a gentle padding on the mossy earth, leaving faint imprints that sparkle briefly before fading. The horn atop its head gleams with an inner luminescence, said to hold purifying properties that can neutralize poisons or heal wounds, a detail woven into wizarding potions and wand cores. As it lowers its head to graze on tender shoots, the leaves rustle softly under its muzzle, the sound a delicate whisper that blends with the forest's ambient sighs. The unicorn's presence transforms the glade, chasing away lingering shadows, its aura a warm, comforting light that feels like sunlight filtering through clouds. Unicorns are solitary wanderers, preferring the quiet seclusion of the forest's hidden pockets, where they can roam undisturbed, their movements a ballet of elegance and caution. They avoid the noisier paths trodden by centaurs or the darker lairs of acromantulas, seeking out clearings bathed in moonlight or streams where the water runs crystal clear. Their diet is simple: fresh grasses, herbs, and pure water, nipped delicately with muzzles that part softly, the chewing a faint, rhythmic crunch, barely audible in the still air. In the books, Voldemort's pursuit of unicorn blood in Philosopher's Stone underscores their sacred status, the act of slaying one, cursing the perpetrator forever, a testament to their role as symbols of uncorrupted magic. Pottermore elaborates on their life cycle, from foals with golden coats that gradually turn silver, then pure white as they mature, their horns growing over years into the spiral wonders prized by wand makers like Ollivander. Imagine a young unicorn, its coat still tinged with gold, frolicking in the glade, its tiny hooves pattering lightly, its playful leaps stirring the air with a faint, joyful whinny that echoes like distant bells. The unicorn's magic is subtle yet profound, their horns capable of purifying tainted water with a mere touch, the liquid bubbling softly as impurities dissolve into nothingness. This healing essence extends to their blood, though using it brings doom, as Quirrell learns to his peril. Their presence in the forest serves as a counterbalance to darker forces, their light repelling malevolent creatures like werewolves or dementors that might stray too close. In Order of the Phoenix, the forest's unicorns are glimpsed during patrols, their glow a brief beacon in the night. Picture one approaching a polluted stream, its horn dipping into the water with a soft ripple, the liquid clearing to crystal purity, bubbles rising like tiny stars. The air shimmers around it, scented with an intensified freshness, as if the forest itself breathes easier in its vicinity. Unicorns are not easily tamed, bonding only with those of pure heart, often young witches, as folklore suggests their preference for innocence. Their gallop, when they run, is a soft thunder, hooves pounding rhythmically on the earth, wings of light seeming to trail behind though they have none. Their interactions with the forest's other inhabitants add layers to their luminous role, Centaurs regard them with deep respect, viewing their purity as a celestial sign. Their chants sometimes harmonizing with the unicorn's faint whinnies in nocturnal rituals. Thestrals, symbols of death, graze nearby in uneasy truce, their dark forms contrasting the unicorn's light. The air between them charged with a balanced magic that keeps the ecosystem in harmony. Hippogriffs bow from afar, their proud heads lowering in acknowledgement, while smaller beings like bowtruckles scurry from trees to watch, their scratches on bark softening in the unicorn's presence. Acromantulas avoid their glades, their cliques retreating into the shadows, as if the light repels their darker instincts. In Half-Blood Prince, Hagrid mentions tending to injured unicorns, his rough hands gentle as he applies salves, highlighting the care required for these sacred beings. Unicorns' vulnerabilities lend a poignant tenderness to their grace. They are sensitive to dark magic, their coats dulling in tainted areas, their horns losing luster if exposed to curses. Healing comes from moonlight baths in pure streams, the water lapping softly as their glow restores. Folklore warns of their fierceness when cornered, horns slashing with a swift whoosh, hooves stamping with a sharp thud. In the books, their blood's curse protects them posthumously, dooming slayers to shadowed lives. As we linger in the glade, the unicorn lifts its head, ears twitching softly at a distant sound, its horn catching moonlight in a sparkling arc. It steps forward, hooves padding gently, vanishing into the mist with a graceful bound, the air shimmering in its wake. This pure light leaves us with a sense of renewal and healing, its story illuminating our path toward the wise wanderers that tread the forest's starry trails ahead. As the luminous glow of the unicorns recedes into the moonlit clearings, leaving behind a trail of shimmering peace that lingers in the air like a faint perfume of wildflowers, our journey through the forbidden forest draws us toward starlit glades where the centaurs roam, those wise wanderers whose presence weaves threads of ancient knowledge into the woodland's tapestry. These beings, a profound fusion of human intellect and equine strength, stand as guardians of the stars and secrets, their forms a testament to the forest's harmonious blend of civilization and wilderness. With the upper body of a human, torso muscular and often adorned with beads, tattoos, or woven vines, and the lower body of a powerful horse, complete with flowing tail and hooves that tread the earth with purposeful grace, centaurs embody a duality that commands respect. Their hair, wild and untamed, cascades like a mane, and their eyes, deep and piercing, reflect the constellations they study so intently. In Order of the Phoenix, Firenze defies his herd to teach at Hogwarts, his voice resonant and profound as he imparts celestial wisdom to Harry and his classmates. Pottermore classifies them not as beasts, but as beings who reject the ministry's labels, choosing instead to live by their own codes, fiercely independent and attuned to the cosmos. Imagine emerging into a vast, open glade, ringed by towering yews and oaks, the ground a soft carpet of grass sprinkled with night-blooming flowers that release a subtle herbal scent into the cool air, lavender for clarity, sage for insight, mingling with the earthy musk of the centaurs themselves. The moonlight pours down unfiltered here, bathing the space in silver, the stars above vivid and unclouded, as if the canopy has parted in reverence for their stargazing. A herd of centaurs gathers, their hooves shifting softly on the turf with a rhythmic thud that echoes like a distant heartbeat, their bodies casting long shadows that dance with the flickering light of a small, contained fire, flames crackling faintly, embers glowing like fallen stars. The air vibrates with their low chants, a humming cadence that blends with the forest's whispers. Words in an ancient tongue that speak of planetary alignments and fateful omens. Firenze, with his palomino coat and thoughtful gaze, might stand at the center, his human hands gesturing toward the heavens, tracing constellations with fingers that move like branches in the wind. Centaurs are nomadic scholars of the forest, their herds moving with the seasons and the stars, seeking clearings where the celestial map unfolds without obstruction. They eschew human society, viewing wizards as meddlers in fate, as seen in Philosopher's Stone when they warn of dangers in cryptic terms. Their knowledge of astronomy is unparalleled, divining prophecies from the positions of Mars or Venus, their predictions woven into the fabric of wizarding history. Pottermore details their healing arts, using herbs gathered under specific lunar phases, moonwort for wounds, star thistle for visions, the plants rustling softly as they harvest with careful hands. Imagine a centaur elder bending to pluck a sprig of sage, the leaves crunching faintly between fingers, the scent releasing in a puff that carries on the breeze. Their diet reflects their hybrid nature, grains and fruits for sustenance, hunted game when the stars align, prepared over fires that pop and hiss with resinous wood. The centaur's social structure adds depth to their wandering ways. Herds led by wise elders who interpret omens, their decisions debated in circles under the night sky. In Chamber of Secrets, Bane and Ronan embody this pride, refusing to aid humans directly, their voices deep and echoing like thunder rolling through the trees. Young centaurs learn archery and divination from birth, their bows crafted from yew branches that creak softly when drawn, arrows fletched with feathers from forest birds. Picture a foal practicing, hooves stamping lightly in excitement, the bowstring twanging with a sharp hum as the arrow whistles through the air, embedding in a distant target with a thud. The air around the herd is scented with the leather of their quivers and the herbal poultices they carry, a blend that grounds their celestial focus in the earth. Their magic is innate, tied to the stars rather than wands, allowing them to heal with salves that fizz softly on wounds or foresee events in star charts drawn in the dirt, with hooves that scrape rhythmic patterns. In Deathly Hallows, the centaurs join the battle, their arrows flying with whispers of wind, hooves thundering like a storm. But in peace, they meditate, lying on the grass with manes splayed, the ground cool beneath them, stargazing until dawn. Firenze's exile for teaching humans highlights their isolationism, as Pottermore explains, viewing wizardkind as arrogant tamperers with fate. Interactions with other creatures enrich their role. Unicorns are revered as celestial signs, their light harmonizing with centaur chants, the air shimmering when they meet. Thestrals share the night, their wings rustling in truce, while hippogriffs bow from above, cries echoing mutual respect. Acromantulas keep distance, their clicks retreating, bow truckles chattering from trees the centaurs protect. Vulnerabilities lend poignancy. Their pride leads to conflicts, their star-bound fate, making them fatalistic. Injuries heal with herbal poultices that sizzle softly, but emotional scars from human encroachments linger. In folklore, they're seers cursed with knowledge, their whispers a double-edged sword. As we circle the glade, a centaur raises his head, hooves pouring softly, turning toward the stars with a deep hum. The herd shifts, beads clinking, vanishing into the woods with thudding steps that fade. These wise wanderers leave us with celestial calm, their story guiding us to the shadows where intricate webs await. As the wise echoes of the centaur's stargazing chants fade into the starlit glades, leaving behind a sense of celestial harmony that lingers like the soft hum of ancient prophecies, our path through the forbidden forest delves into denser, more shadowed thickets, where the whispers take on a rhythmic, intricate quality from the acromantulas, those colossal arachnids that weave the depths into a vast, silken domain. These creatures, often cast in the light of fear and fascination, are giant spiders with bodies as large as carts, their 8 legs armored in chitin that gleams like polished obsidian under stray beams of moonlight. Their eyes, multiple and beady, reflect the forest's gloom like clusters of dark jewels, and their fangs drip with venom that hisses faintly when exposed to air. In Chamber of Secrets, Harry and Ron encounter Aragog, the patriarch of a sprawling colony, his voice a clicking rasp that reveals intelligence far beyond mere beastly instinct. Pottermore classifies them as XX beasts, the highest danger rating, denoting their formidable size and predatory nature. Yet they possess a social complexity that mirrors human societies, with loyalties and hierarchies woven as intricately as their webs. Imagine navigating a narrow trail overgrown with vines and underbrush, the ground sticky with dew and faint strands of silk that brush against your robes like ghostly fingers. The air thickens here, heavy with the musty scent of earth churned by massive legs and the subtle, acrid tang of venom mingled with the damp rot of fallen logs. The canopy above is laced with webs, vast, intricate tapestries that span from tree to tree, glistening with droplets that catch the moonlight like scattered diamonds. The strands vibrate softly with the breeze, or the distant scuttle of smaller prey, creating a humming resonance that feels like the forest breathing in sync with the acromantula's movements. Their colony nests in a deep hollow, a crater-like depression carpeted in layers of silk that muffle sounds to an eerie quiet, broken only by the occasional click of mandibles or the rustle of legs shifting position. Aragog, blind in his old age, commands from the center, his massive form a hulking shadow, his voice echoing with a gravelly timbre that recounts tales of his youth with Hagrid. Acromantulas are masterful architects of the shadows, their webs not mere traps, but engineered marvels of strength and strategy, capable of ensnaring creatures many times their size. Each strand is spun with silk stronger than steel, extruded from spinnerets that whir softly during weaving, the process a rhythmic dance of legs and abdomen. In the books, Aragog's colony aids Hagrid's friends out of loyalty, their intelligence shining through in dialogues that reveal emotions like grief and honor. Native to Borneo, but introduced to Britain via illicit trade, as Pottermore explains, they thrive in the forest's damp climate. Their venom a potent ingredient in potions for its paralyzing properties. Imagine an acromantula at work, its legs tapping lightly on the web to test tension, the silk extruding in glistening threads that harden almost instantly, the air humming with the vibration of construction. Their hunts are coordinated, herds moving in silent waves, legs pattering softly across the ground, mandibles clicking in communication that sounds like a coded language of taps and rasps. The social structure of acromantulas adds profound depth to their shadowy existence, with colonies organized around a dominant figure like Aragog, who sires generations and enforces rules through sheer presence. Females are larger and more aggressive, laying eggs in silken sacs that pulse faintly with the life within, guarded fiercely against predators. Picture a nursery web in a secluded alcove, the egg sacs swaying gently in the breeze, the mother acromantula circling with legs that drum softly on the silk, her eyes scanning for threats. The young, upon hatching, scuttle forth in a wave of tiny clicks, their bodies soft and vulnerable at first, hardening over time as they feed on insects and grow. In Half-Blood Prince, the colony mourns Aragog's passing. Their funeral rites a somber gathering where cliques rise in a cacophony that echoes through the trees, a ritual that underscores their capacity for emotion and community. Pottermore details their lifespan, up to 50 years for elders like Aragog, and their diet, primarily large prey like deer or unwary wizards, captured with webs that snap taut with a resonant twang when triggered. Their magic, though not wand-wielded, is innate. Their venom not just toxic, but alchemically versatile, used in antidotes or as a base for potions that induce paralysis or hallucinations. The webs themselves hold enchantments, sticky and elastic, capable of entangling spells or magical creatures, the strands glowing faintly when infused with the spider's intent. In wizarding history, acromantulas have been both allies and adversaries, smuggled for guarding treasures or bred for venom farms. But in the forest, they live wild, their colony a self-sustaining kingdom. Imagine a hunt unfolding at dusk, the acromantulas fanning out with legs that skitter softly across leaves, webs flung like nets with a whooshing release, the prey's struggles vibrating the strands like a telegraph of success. The air fills with the acrid scent of venom as fangs pierce, the process efficient and silent, the forest absorbing the sounds into its depths. Interactions with other inhabitants reveal the acromantula's place in the ecosystem's balance. Centaurs avoid their territories, their chants warding off incursions with rhythmic stomps that echo warnings, while unicorns' light repels them, the glow causing their eyes to avert with a hiss. Thestrals glide above, wings rustling in truce, their invisibility a shield against the spider's hunts. Hippogriffs clash occasionally, talons slashing with sharp snaps against clicking legs. But mutual respect keeps conflicts rare. Bowtruckles flee their webs, small forms darting with frantic scratches, while dragons' roars from afar send vibrations that unsettle the colony's silks. In Deathly Hallows, the acromantulas join the battle, their legs thundering like a storm, showcasing their opportunistic ferocity. Vulnerabilities humanize these shadows. They fear basilisks and fire, their chitin cracking under heat with a sharp pop, venom sacs bursting in agony. Healing involves silken bandages spun from their own webs, applied with delicate leg movements that hum softly. Folklore paints them as monsters, but Rowling reveals their depth through Aragog's bond with Hagrid, a friendship that transcends species. As we edge the colony's border, an acromantula pauses, legs arching with a soft creak, eyes glinting as it weaves a new strand that hums faintly. The web expands, shadows deepening, the creature retreating with clicking steps that fade. These shadowy depths leave us with a sense of intricate balance, their story guiding us to the small wonders that flit among the branches ahead. As the intricate webs of the acromantulas recede into the shadow depths, their silken strands humming faintly with the forest's subtle vibrations, our path through the forbidden forest lightens, leading us to the smaller, more whimsical inhabitants that flit and scuttle among the branches and roots, bowtruckles and other tiny wonders that add delicate layers to the woodland's magic. These diminutive creatures, often overlooked in the grand tales of beasts and guardians, form the intricate understory of the forest's ecosystem. Their presence a reminder that magic thrives not only in the colossal, but in the minute, the subtle, the easily missed. Bowtruckles, in particular, stand as the quintessential guardians of the trees, twig-like beings no taller than a hand's span, with bark-brown skin, long fingers like thorny vines, and eyes that gleam like dewdrops on leaves. In Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, Newt Scamander describes them as shy but fierce protectors of wandwood trees, and Pottermore classifies them as ex-beasts, harmless to most, but tenacious when their homes are threatened. Their bodies blend seamlessly with the branches they inhabit, camouflage so perfect that they appear as mere twigs until they move, their limbs scratching softly against bark in a rhythmic test of the wood's integrity. Imagine perching on a fallen log in a sun-filtered grove, the ground soft with layers of decaying leaves that crunch faintly under your weight, the air scented with the resinous tang of pine and the earthy richness of moss. A bowtruckle clings to a nearby rowan tree, prized for its wand-quality wood, its long, knobby fingers digging lightly into the bark with a soft scrape, testing for insects or weakness. The creature's skin is textured like rough bark, mottled in shades of brown and green, allowing it to vanish against the trunk when still. Its eyes, small and beady, dart with curiosity, reflecting the dappled light filtering through the canopy above. When disturbed, it might chatter, a high-pitched series of clicks and squeaks that blend with the rustle of leaves, before lashing out with those finger-like claws, sharp enough to deter woodcutters, but gentle in their precision. In the Harry Potter series, bowtruckles appear in Care of Magical Creatures classes, where students learn to distract them with woodlice to harvest wandwood, as Hagrid might gruffly instruct. Their diet consists of insects, licked from the bark with tiny tongues that flick quickly, the sound a faint smack against the wood. Bowtruckles are fiercely territorial, bonding to specific trees like oak, elder, or willow, sources of the finest wands, as Ollivander would attest. They live in small family groups, nesting in hollows or crevices, their homes lined with peeled bark and soft moss that rustles softly when they stir. Picture a bowtruckle family in a wandwood elm. The adults scratching defensive patterns into the trunk, while the young, smaller than fingers, clamber about with tentative grips, their claws tapping lightly as they learn to cling. The air around their tree hums with a subtle magic, the bowtruckles' presence warding off parasites and ensuring the wood's quality for future wands. Pottermore notes their lifespan, up to 20 years, and their mating rituals, where males present shiny beetles to females, the gifts clicking softly as they're accepted. In wizarding history, bowtruckles have thwarted illegal loggers, their scratches leaving marks that heal slowly, a natural defense amplified by the forest's enchantments. Their magic is innate and subtle, allowing them to blend with wood or summon minor illusions to hide their trees, the bark shimmering faintly when activated. In Order of the Phoenix, they might be glimpsed during forest patrols, their chitters warning of intruders. Imagine harvesting wandwood, offering woodlice as distraction, the bowtruckle's fingers uncurling slowly from the branch with a soft pop, its eyes narrowing before it scuttles away. The process is delicate, the air tense with the creature's watchful energy, underscoring the respect required for even the smallest magical beings. Beyond bowtruckles, the forest teems with other tiny wonders that add whimsy to its depths. Clabberts, frog-like creatures with webbed hands and a horn-like pustule on their foreheads that glows red in danger, perch on low branches, their skins mottled green to camouflage among leaves. In fantastic beasts, they're noted for alerting to approaching muggles, the pustule pulsing with a soft warning light that hums faintly. Picture one, hanging from a vine, its webbed feet gripping tightly, the air scented with the damp, amphibian musk as its pustule flickers like a distant lantern. Classified as X, they are harmless climbers, feeding on insects snapped up with long tongues that flick with a quick slap. Doxies, fairy-like pests with double wings and venomous bites, flutter in swarms near overgrown bushes, their iridescent wings buzzing softly like bees. In Order of the Phoenix, they infest Grimold Place, but in the forest, they nest in thorny thickets, their bites causing itchy welts that swell with a faint pop. Pottermore details their eggs, laid in clusters that hatch into larvae, wriggling with tiny chitters. Imagine a swarm darting through the air, wings whirring in a high-pitched hum, their tiny fangs glinting as they defend their territory. Flobberworms, sluggish and unassuming, burrow in the damp soil, their mucous bodies leaving slimy trails that glisten under moonlight. Used in potions for their thickening mucus, as in Prisoner of Azkaban classes, they're XXX beasts, utterly harmless, munching on lettuce with slow, squelching bites. Picture one inching along a route, the ground parting softly with its movement, the air earthy around its burrow. Jarvies, ferret-like creatures with a talent for mimicry, scamper through underbrush, their fur soft and brown, chattering human phrases in rude bursts that echo like mocking laughter. Pottermore notes their use in gnoming gardens, their bites deterring pests with a sharp nib. Imagine one popping from a hole, its whiskers twitching, voice mimicking "silly wizard" with a squeaky tone, the air filled with its playful energy. Puffskeins, fluffy balls of fur that hum contentedly, roll in clearings, their tongues extruding to lick dust with a soft slurp. In Goblet of Fire, Ron owns one, their custard-colored fur soft to touch. Classified as X, they're cuddly pets, purring when stroked, the vibration a gentle rumble. Mooncalves, shy nocturnal beasts with long legs and flat feet, emerge under full moons, dancing in circles that leave crop patterns. Pottermore describes their silver dung fertilizing magical plants, their dances a soft stamping that thuds rhythmically. Imagine a herd under moonlight, legs kicking lightly, the ground patterning with their steps. Diricals, plump birds that vanish at will, waddle through undergrowth, feathers fluffing with a soft poof before disappearing in a puff of air. Related to the dodo, as in Fantastic Beasts, they're XX beasts, evading predators with teleport-like magic. Flesh-eating slugs, slimy pests that ooze acid, slither in damp spots, their trails sizzling faintly on leaves. In Chamber of Secrets, Hagrid battles them, their mucus bubbling softly. These tiny wonders interact in a delicate web. Bowtruckles fend off doxies from trees with sharp scratches, clabberts warn of approaching jarvies with glowing pustules. Puffskeins roll away from mooncalf dances with humming protests. Diricals vanish from flesh-eating slugs, their poofs startling flobberworms into burrows. Vulnerabilities add charm. Bowtruckles fear fire, their bark crisping with a snap. Clabbert's pustules burst under stress with a pop. Healing involves herbal pastes, applied with gentle dabs, the forest providing. As we observe, a bowtruckle tests a branch with a scratch. Doxies buzz nearby. Jarvies chatter rudely. These small beings leave us with whimsy, their story guiding us to the majestic visitors that rumble in the distances ahead. As the delicate whimsy of bowtruckles and their kin fades into the rustling branches and hidden crevices, leaving behind a sense of intricate, small-scale magic that hums like a subtle undercurrent in the forest's symphony. Our exploration through the forbidden forest takes a turn toward the rarer, more majestic visitors that occasionally grace its borders. Dragons, those awe-inspiring behemoths whose presence rumbles through the depths like thunder echoing from distant mountains. These creatures, symbols of raw power and ancient fire in the wizarding world, are not native residents of the forest, but transient wanderers, drawn by its seclusion or the pull of magical energies that pulse through its enchanted soil. With scales that gleam like forged armor in hues of emerald, crimson, or obsidian, horns curving wickedly, and wings that span wider than a Quidditch pitch, dragons embody the pinnacle of magical might. Their eyes burn with an inner flame, pupils slitted like a cat's, and their breath, hot and sulphurous, can ignite the air with a roar that shakes the trees. In Goblet of Fire, Harry faces the Hungarian Horntail in the Triwizard Tournament, its ferocity a testament to their legendary status. Pottermore classifies most species as XX beasts, the highest danger level, reserved for creatures capable of slaying wizards with ease. Yet they hold a place of reverence in lore as guardians of treasures and harbingers of transformation. Imagine cresting a rocky ridge deep in the forest's less trodden wilds, the ground uneven with boulders moss-covered and slick, the air thickening with a faint, acrid smoke that hints at the presence of these rare visitors. The ridge overlooks a secluded valley, a natural crater ringed by ancient cliffs where a dragon might choose to nest, its massive form coiled like a living mountain, scales rising and falling with each deep, rumbling breath. The air shimmers with heat haze, scented with charred wood and the metallic tang of scorched earth. The ground below littered with remnants of prey, bones cracked and scattered, glinting faintly in the moonlight. A dragon's roar, when it comes, is a guttural thunder that vibrates through the chest, echoing off the cliffs with a resonant boom that scatters birds from the trees in a flurry of wings. Their wings, leathery and veined like ancient maps, unfold with a leathery creak that spans the valley, the rush of air stirring leaves and dust into whirlwinds. In the books, dragons are bred for the tournament, but wild ones roam free, their migrations influenced by magical ley lines or the call of untamed lands. Dragons are apex predators of the wizarding world, their biology a marvel of fire and flight, with species varying in size, temperament, and abilities. The Hungarian horntail, with its black scales spiked like thorns and tail ending in a deadly club that swishes with a whoosh, is known for its aggression, breathing fire in jets that crackle and hiss, igniting the air with bursts of orange flame. The Chinese fireball, rounded and scarlet, hurls fireballs that explode with a sharp pop, its eggs prized for their crimson shells that glow faintly when warmed. The Swedish short snout, sleek and blue-grey, exhales blue flames hot enough to reduce bone to ash with a searing sizzle. In Goblet of Fire, Victor Crumb faces the fireball, its roar a deafening bellow that shakes the arena. Pottermore catalogues 10 purebred species, each adapted to habitats from mountains to forests. Their diets carnivorous, deer, goats, or larger prey snatched with talons that clutch with a crushing grip, the bones snapping under pressure. Their nesting habits add layers to their rarity in the forest. Females lay clutches of eggs in hidden lairs, the shells tough and leathery, incubating under the mother's fiery breath that warms them with a steady hiss. Picture a nest in a cave mouth, eggs nestled in a bed of scorched earth and stolen treasures, gold coins glinting, gems scattered. The mother dragon coiled protectively, her tail swishing softly in warning. The air is hot, waves of heat rolling off her scales scented with sulfur and charred rock. Hatchlings emerge with a crack of the shell, their tiny roars a high-pitched squeal, wings wet and folded, drying with a faint steam as they flap tentatively. They learn to fly quickly, leaping from ledges with clumsy bounds, the air stirring with their first wing beats. In wizarding reserves like Romania's, where Charlie Weasley works, dragons are studied, their scales harvested post-molt for armor. The process a careful scrape that yields iridescent plates. Dragon's magic is primal. Their fire not mere flame, but enchanted, capable of melting metals or cursing those who steal from their hoards, as in Gringotts depths. Their blood, heartstrings, and horns are potent in potions and wands. dragon heartstring cores, as Ollivander notes, produce powerful magic with a flair for the dramatic. In Deathly Hallows, a Ukrainian iron belly guards the bank, its chains clanking with each movement, breath scorching the air. Wild dragons migrate, drawn to magical hotspots like the forest during solstices. Their flight's a spectacle of wings beating with thunderous whooshes, shadows eclipsing the moon. Interactions with forest dwellers are tense yet balanced. Centaurs divine their arrivals as omens, chants rising in warning, hooves stamping rhythms that echo. Unicorns flee their fire, light dimming in fear, while Thestrals soar alongside, wings rustling in rare companionship. Hippogriffs challenge them aerially, cries piercing as talons clash with scales in sparks. Acromantulas avoid their lairs, clicks retreating from the heat, bowtruckles clinging tighter to trees as flames threaten. In Fantastic Beasts, Newt encounters a thunderbird, but dragons remain apex, their roars commanding silence. Vulnerabilities humanize these titans, eyes sensitive to spells like conjunctivitis, as Crumb uses, causing roars of pain. Chains bind them in captivity, clanking miserably, and cold weakens their fire, breath sputtering. Healing involves salves from their own scales, ground to powder that fizzes on wounds. Folklore abounds. Dragons as treasure hoarders, their lairs glittering with gold pilfered from goblins, coins clinking under their weight. In history, Merlin tamed one, its heartstring in his wand. Reserves protect them. Poachers hunted for horns sold black market, ground with a rasp for aphrodisiacs. As we overlook the valley, the dragon stirs, scales rasping, wings unfolding with a boom that shakes leaves. It launches, breath flaming in a crackle, vanishing into night. These rare visitors leave awe, their story guiding us to the final whispers of the forest's symphony. The path beyond the dragon's ridge slopes gently now, winding downward through a thicket of silver-barked birches whose leaves shimmer faintly as though dusted with powdered moonstone. The air cools, softens, no longer thick with sulfur or scorched earth, but carries instead the clean, mineral scent of damp moss and crushed mint underfoot. A hush descends, deeper than silence, the kind of quiet that settles only when the world has held its breath long enough to feel safe again. The trees thin, and ahead, the ground opens into a wide, shallow bowl, a natural amphitheater cupped by low, grassy banks and ringed with ancient elder trees, their gnarled roots rising like sleeping serpents from the soil. You've arrived in the Mooncalves glade. It is, as the name suggests, a place shaped by lunar rhythms. Even now, though the moon has begun its slow retreat behind the western ridge, the glade glows with residual light, as if the earth itself remembers its touch. The grass here is not ordinary. Each blade is slender, slightly translucent, and edged in a faint bioluminescence. Not bright, but pulsing softly, like the gentle rise and fall of a sleeping creature's ribcage. Where the ground dips near the center, a patch of wild moonseed blooms in spirals, its pale flowers open wide, drinking in whatever starlight still lingers. And there, moving with impossible delicacy across this luminous stage, are the Mooncalves. They are shy, these creatures, so shy that most wizards never see them. even those who walk the forest for decades. Classified by Newt Scamander as sexy, harmless, yet easily startled, Mooncalves stand no taller than a small pony, their bodies slender and covered in fine, silvery grey fur that ripples like water when they move. Their most striking feature, their legs, are extraordinarily long and jointed like a stilt walker's, ending in broad, flat feet that leave no imprint on the dew-slick grass. Their eyes are large and liquid black, reflecting the sky above like obsidian mirrors, and their heads tilt with bird-like curiosity at the slightest sound. Two soft, velvety horns curve back from their skulls, not sharp, but smooth as river stones, and between them sits a small, cup-shaped depression, faintly warm to the touch, said to collect moonlight like a chalice. They do not speak, not in any language of clicks or cries. Instead, they dance. And oh, what a dance it is. It begins with a single mooncalf stepping into the center of the glade, its head lifted, ears twitching toward the sky. Then another joins, then another, until 5 or 6 form a loose circle, hooves barely touching the ground. They rise onto their hind legs, not with effort, but with a grace so effortless it defies gravity, and begin to pivot, slow at first, then quicker, their long limbs tracing spirals in the air. Their movements are not random. Each step, each turn follows a precise ancient pattern, one passed down not through sound, but through instinct, written in muscle and bone and starlight. As they dance, their hooves brush the glowing grass, and where they pass, faint traceries of light remain, temporary glyphs that shimmer for a few heartbeats before fading. These are no mere footprints. They are wards, soft and temporary enchantments spun from movement and moon magic. Pottermore notes that mooncalf dances strengthen protective charms in the soil, warding off blight, encouraging growth in magical plants, and even soothing restless earth spirits. Their silver dung, yes, even this is wondrous, is prized by herbologists. When sprinkled around mandrake patches, it reduces shrieking by nearly half and causes moonflowers to bloom 3 nights early. Watch closely now. The eldest mooncalf, its fur tinged with frost white at the tips, lifts its head and lets out a sound so quiet it is felt more than heard. A low, resonant hum, like a crystal goblet stroked with a wet finger. The vibration spreads through the air, and the others harmonize, not with voices, but with movement. Their limbs sway in counterpoint, one rising as another descends, their horns dipping and lifting like the tide answering the moon's call. The air grows thick with calm, heavy and sweet as honeyed chamomile. Your shoulders soften, your breath slows. Even the trees seem to lean in, branches stilled mid-sway, as if the forest itself is holding space for this ritual. This is not performance, it is communion. Mooncalves do not dance for show. They dance because the world is out of balance, and their bodies remember how to mend it. In times of great magical disturbance, when Dementors drift too close, or dark spells linger in the soil, their dances grow longer, more urgent, their patterns tightening into knots of restoration. After the Battle of Hogwarts, it is said that mooncalves came from as far as the Scottish Highlands to dance in the glades near the castle, their traceries glowing for 3 nights straight helping the land heal, stitch by silent stitch. They are creatures of cyclical time. They sleep curled in hollows, beneath elder roots during the sun's reign, and only awaken fully beneath the full or waxing moon. Their young, called calflings, are born during lunar eclipses, swaddled in pelts still damp with silver dew, blinking up at a world already humming with ancient rhythm. They do not nurse, but absorb moonlight through the cup between their horns, growing stronger with each night they spend beneath the open sky. A breeze stirs, not cold, but tender, lifting strands of your hair and carrying the scent of crushed starmint and wet stone. One mooncalf pauses mid-turn and looks at you, not with alarm, but with quiet recognition. Its eyes hold no judgment, only a soft, steady knowing, as though it sees not just your body, but the weight you carry, the thoughts you've tucked away, the hopes you whisper only to your pillow at night. It does not approach, it does not flee. It simply includes you, in the circle, in the dance, in the quiet work of restoration. And suddenly, you understand, you are not watching, you are participating. Your breathing falls into time with theirs. In, out, in, out. Your pulse steadies. Your mind, so often racing ahead or looping back, settles, like silt sinking to the bottom of a still pond. The mooncalf bows its head once, just slightly, and resumes its spiral. Time stretches and softens here. Minutes melt like wax. The glade breathes, and you breathe with it. You think of nothing, no lists, no worries, no unfinished spells or unread letters. There is only the sway, the shimmer, the hum beneath the skin of the world. And then, as gently as it began, the dance wanes down. One by one, the mooncalves lower to all fours, their long limbs folding with soft sighs. They gather in the center, touching foreheads in a gesture both tender and solemn. The last tracery of light fades from the grass. The elder mooncalf turns, pauses once more to look at you, and then, without sound, without haste, leads the others into the elder grove, vanishing like mist between the trunks. The glade does not darken, it settles. You remain, sitting now on the cool bank, the grass still faintly warm where they danced. Above, the first hints of violet bleed into the eastern horizon, the quiet herald of dawn. But here, in this sacred bowl of earth, night lingers lovingly, wrapping you in its final, gentle embrace. The mooncalves have done their work, and so, perhaps, have you. For in their dance, you remembered something vital, that healing does not always roar. Sometimes it spirals. Sometimes it hums. Sometimes it steps lightly, reverently, across the glowing grass and leaves light behind. The path from the mooncalf glade slopes downward now, not steeply, but with the gentle insistence of water finding its level, and the air grows stiller, denser, as though the forest is holding its breath in anticipation. The silver birches and elder groves thin, giving way to a ring of ancient yews, their trunks gnarled and dark, twisted like old wizards clasping hands in silent council. Between them, a narrow arch of living wood has formed over centuries, roots and branches braided together by time and magic into a natural doorway. You pause before it. No spell bars your passage, only reverence. Step through, And there it lies, the still pool. It is not large, perhaps 20 paces across, its edges lined with smooth, black stones, worn by centuries of quiet lapping. The water is perfectly still, not frozen, not stagnant, but still, as though it has chosen stillness as an act of will. By day, it is said to appear black as obsidian, swallowing light whole. But now, beneath the fading embers of night and the first violet blush of dawn, it gleams, not with reflection of sky or tree, but with something deeper. Moonlight, though receding, has left its blessing. The surface shimmers faintly, not with ripples, but with images, soft, fleeting, luminous. A child's hand reaching for a parent's, a shared laugh over steaming mugs in a kitchen lit by firelight, a quiet walk along a shore at low tide, the weight of a purring cat curled in your lap on a rainy afternoon. These are not illusions cast by the water. They are yours. Moments of pure, unguarded peace, recalled not by your mind, but by your breath, your bones, the quiet places within you that remember safety. This is no ordinary spring. According to lore passed among Centaur elders and whispered once by Firenze to a sleepless Harry in the depths of grief, the still pool is fed not by underground streams, but by memory wells, deep aquifers where the earth collects and cradles moments of true rest. Just as unicorn blood holds life, just as Thestral wings carry sorrow gently onward, this water holds stillness. It does not judge, it does not demand, it simply offers, a surface upon which the soul may glimpse its own unbroken core. You kneel at the water's edge. The stone is cool beneath your palms, damp with dew, yet not cold. Not the chill of absence, but the quiet coolness of deep shade on a summer day. As you settle, the glade breathes. Around you, the forest's inhabitants come, not to drink, but to be. A Thestral steps from the yew arch, its hooves soundless on the moss. It does not approach the water, but lowers its skeletal frame a few paces away, folding its wings with a soft rustle like silk drawn over glass. Its milky eyes, usually fixed on distant paths, soften. It does not look into the pool. It simply rests beside it, as though proximity alone is enough to recalibrate its inner compass. From the opposite bank, a centaur emerges, older, his coat dappled grey with age, beads of moonstone and river-polished jet strung in his mane. He does not chant, does not read the stars. He stands, 4 legs planted wide, human torso upright, and closes his eyes. His breathing slows, deepens, until the rise and fall of his chest matches the faint pulse of light beneath the pool's surface. A single tear traces a path through the dust on his cheek, not of sorrow, but of release. Even the acromantulas respect this place. High in the yews, a pair of them perch, not weaving, not hunting, legs curled beneath them like brooding birds. Their multiple eyes glint, unblinking, fixed not on prey, but on the water's glow. No venom drips, no mandibles click. They are still. And then a ripple, not from wind, not from movement. A single puff skein, custard-colored and round as a pom-pom, rolls gently down the bank, humming a low, contented vibration like a tuning fork struck softly. It reaches the water's edge, pauses, then with infinite delicacy, dips one tiny pseudopod into the surface. The pool does not break. Instead, the light warms. A new image blooms at the center, the puffskein curled atop a sleeping child's chest, rising and falling with each breath, its hum harmonizing with the child's sigh. This is the magic of the still pool. It does not show you what you wish for. It shows you what you already have, the moments of grace that did happen, that are still true, even when the world feels sharp and loud. You lean closer. The water does not mirror your face. Instead, for a heartbeat, you see your hands, steady, kneading dough as steam curls from a kettle. The weight of a blanket pulled up to your shoulders, the scent of lavender and worn cotton. A voice, familiar and kind, saying, "It's okay. You're here. You're safe." No words are spoken aloud, but in the silence, something loosens in your chest. A knot you didn't know you were holding. Your shoulders drop. Your jaw unclenches. Your breath, which had been shallow and high, sinks deep into your belly, slow and even, like the tide turning. This is where the forest keeps its deepest secret. Rest is not something you earn. It is something you remember. The pool knows this. It has held this truth longer than Hogwarts has stood, longer than the founders walked these grounds. It was here when the first centaur read the sky, when the first unicorn lowered its horn to bless the water, when the first bowtruckle scratched its guardian's vow into living wood. It is here for you now. A breeze stirs, finally, not cold, but tender, carrying the scent of yew resin and wet stone. It brushes the surface, and the images shimmer, soften, then fade, not vanishing, but settling, sinking into the water like seeds into soil. The pool returns to its deep, luminous stillness. You do not rise, you do not speak, you simply sit, knees bent, hands resting on stone, and be. Time does not stop here. It deepens. Minutes pass, or hours. Dawn's light strengthens, painting the eastern sky in layers of rose and gold, gilding the edges of the yew leaves. Birdsong begins, not the sharp alarm of daybreak, but the soft, drowsy trills of creatures waking gently, without haste. A thrush calls, its notes clear and liquid, echoing off the water like a bell underwater. The Thestral lifts its head, stretches its neck, and with one last glance at the pool, turns and walks silently back through the arch. The centaur opens his eyes, bows once, deeply, not to you, but to the water, and follows. The acromantulas retreat into the yew shadows, their legs soundless. Even the puffskein uncurls, gives a final hum, and rolls away, leaving only a faint impression in the moss. You are alone, but not lonely. The still pool remains, its surface now catching the first true rays of dawn, not blinding, not harsh, but warm and honey gold, spilling across the water in slow, molten ribbons. The black stones glow amber. Your hands, resting on them, feel their warmth seep into your skin. This is the threshold. The forest has shown you power, dragons, gentleness, mooncalves, and now, stillness. Not emptiness, not void, but presence. The quiet hum beneath all things, the space between breaths, where healing begins. You rise, not with effort, but with the natural lift of a leaf on an updraft. Your body feels lighter, as though some invisible weight has been lifted, not gone, but held, now, by the forest, by the pool, by the memory of your own unbroken moments. You turn from the water. The path back is different now. Not the same route you walked in on, but a new one, wider, softer, carpeted in moss and fallen petals. It leads not out of the forest, but through it, home. As you step onto it, the yew arch behind you sighs, branches shifting ever so slightly, as if in farewell. The still pool remains, waiting, always, for the next soul who remembers how to be still. The path ahead is gentle now. No more ridges to climb, no thickets to part, no deep hollows to descend into. It slopes upward, almost imperceptibly, lined with soft moss and scattered with fallen petals from night-blooming jasmine and moon-petal vines that cling to the ancient oaks in spiraling braids. The air has shifted. Gone is the deep, cool hush of the inner forest. In its place is a tender warmth, like the first breath of a room just lit by candlelight. The scent, once layered with yew resin, damp stone, and sulfur, has softened into something familiar. Wood smoke, old parchment, and the faint, comforting sweetness of pumpkin pasties left to cool on a windowsill. You are returning, not fleeing, not escaping. Returning, as one does after a long walk beneath the stars, heart full, mind quiet, body humming with the quiet resonance of what was witnessed, what was given, what was remembered. The trees here are older, but kinder. Their trunks bear faint, weather-worn carvings, not crude graffiti, but runes etched long ago by generations of students who, like you, once wandered this border between wild and home. A protego sigil, worn smooth by rain and time. A tiny snitch, wings outstretched, scratched beside the initials JP. A heart enclosing L+N, half covered in ivy. These are not defacements, they are offerings. Small, silent affirmations. I was here. I loved. I hoped. I came back. A breeze stirs, not from the west, where the sea lies dreaming, but from the east, where the sky is blushing. Dawn is no longer a rumor. It is arriving, deliberate and tender, spilling gold over the treetops like honey poured into tea. The canopy filters it into shafts of amber and rose, illuminating floating motes of pollen and the delicate tracery of spider silk strung between branches, dew-heavy, trembling with light. High above, a pair of mourning doves call, their coos soft and circular, like a lullaby folding in on itself. And then, you see it, Hogwarts, not as a silhouette, stark against the horizon, but as a presence, rising from the mist that curls around the black lake, like breath on a winter morning. The towers are lit from within, not by torches, but by the last embers of night lamps still burning in a few windows. The astronomy tower, where a student might still be charting Uranus's slow arc. The Ravenclaw dormitory, where another reads by wandlight, wrapped in a quilt stitched with celestial maps. The hospital wing, where Madame Pumphrey stirs a dreamless sleep draught over a low flame that flickers, steady and blue, in its cauldron. Smoke rises from the chimneys, thin, silver, curling upward in slow spirals, harmonizing with the mist. It smells of applewood and dried lavender, of toast and tea, of safety. You slow your steps, not because you are tired, though your body is deeply, gloriously relaxed, but because you wish to take this in, to imprint it, to carry it with you long after the story ends. A rustle in the undergrowth, a puffskein rolls into view, round, custard-colored, humming a low, contented brrr, like a purring kettle left on the stove too long. It pauses at your feet, blinks its button-black eyes, and gives a single, sleepy pop as it settles onto the moss, curling into a perfect sphere. A moment later, a bow truckle drops from a low-hanging branch. Not startled, not defensive, just curious. It lands softly on a root beside the puffskein, long fingers splayed, head tilted. For a heartbeat, the three of you exist in quiet communion. Human, creature, forest. Then the bow truckle gives a soft click, climbs back up the trunk, and vanishes into the bark, like a secret returning to its keeper. This is the forest's final gift, not spectacle, not revelation, but belonging. You walk on. The path widens, the moss giving way to cobblestones, worn smooth by centuries of footsteps, students, professors, ghosts, house elves, Thestrals, even the occasional dragon on very special nights when the wards are thinned for ceremonial flyovers. The whomping willow stands sentinel near the edge, but its branches are still, curled inward like a sleeping cat. Its leaves shimmer faintly, not with aggression, but with the soft, silvery sheen of dew. Even it rests now. Even it knows. This is the hour of grace. You pass the greenhouses. The glass panes glow with an inner light. Not electric, but magical. Moonseed vines clinging to the frames pulse faintly, their bioluminescence winding down as dawn strengthens, their work done. Through a misted window, you glimpse Professor Sprout's favorite mandrake, swaddled in soundproofing fleece, one tiny leaf curled around a sprig of mooncalf dung fertilizer. It sleeps, safe, dreaming of sunlight. The lake is to your left now, still as obsidian, reflecting the castle in perfect, inverted majesty. A single ripple breaks the surface, caused not by wind, but by a giant squid, its tentacle rising lazily, dripping diamonds of water that catch the light and vanish before they touch the surface again. It does not splash, it does not surge, it acknowledges, and then it sinks back into the depths, leaving the water once more still enough to hold the world in its mirror. You climb the final rise, the grassy slope that leads to the castle's great oak doors. And here, at the threshold, the forest does not release you abruptly. It lingers, a last gift. Beneath the eaves of the entrance hall, tucked into a crevice of ancient stone, a pair of nut-sized spiders, no larger than thumbnails, spin a fresh web between two gargoyles. Their silk is not sticky trap, but celebration, delicate, radial, strung with strands that catch the dawn light and refract it into tiny rainbows across the stone floor. In the center, a single dewdrop hangs, trembling, holding the entire castle in its curve. Towers, turrets, lake, sky, all compressed into one perfect temporary world. This is no acromantula's work. This is house spider, harmless, helpful, a quiet cohabitant. Even here, in the heart of human magic, the wild persists, not as invasion, but as harmony. You stand before the doors. They are closed, but not locked. Not for you. A faint sound rises from within. Not footsteps, not chatter, not the clang of breakfast prep in the kitchens, but something deeper, a vibration, a hum. It is the castle itself. Hogwarts breathes, stone and timber, enchanted mortar and centuries of whispered spells. They resonate at a frequency just below hearing, a baseline chord of home. It is the same hum you felt in the still pool, the same rhythm that matched your breath as the Mooncalves danced, the same grounding pulse beneath the Centaurs' chants. The castle recognizes you, not as student or guest, not as worthy or unworthy, but as returning, as one who has walked into the dark and come back carrying light. You place your hand on the door. The wood is warm, not from the sun, though the first rays now gild the iron hinges, but from within, from the countless hands that have touched it before you. Hagrid's rough, kind grip as he guided first years inside. McGonagall's precise, steady pressure. Dumbledore's light, knowing tap. Fred and George's mischievous shove as they raced ahead. Laughter echoing down the corridor. The door opens, not with a groan, but with a sigh, as if it, too, has been waiting. Inside, the entrance hall is quiet. Torches burn low in their sconces, flames golden and steady, casting long, soft shadows across the black and white tiles. The hour is too early for students, too late for lingering night owls. This is the castle's private moment, the breath between night and day. You step across the threshold. The air shifts instantly. Cooler, yes, but not cold. Drier, but not sterile. It smells of beeswax polish and old stone, of woolen robes hung to dry in the charms corridor, of the faint, clean tang of aguamenti freshened air after a night of restless ghosts pacing the halls. Your footsteps echo, not loudly but cleanly across the floor, your boots soft on the tiles. Tap, 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 a rhythm that says, I am here, I am safe. To your left, the staircase begins its slow, patient migration, just a few inches this morning, swinging towards the west tower as if drawn by the rising sun. The stone steps settle with a deep, resonant thrum, like a cello string plucked in a quiet room. You do not climb, not yet. Instead, you turn right, toward the great hall. The doors are ajar, just a crack. You push gently. The hall is vast and hushed, bathed in pale gold light that pours through the high windows, painting stripes of warmth across the 4 long tables. The house banners hang motionless above, scarlet and gold, green and silver, blue and bronze, yellow and black, their colors muted, respectful in this early hour. But look closer. At the Gryffindor table, a single, half-finished sketch lies beside a mug of cold tea. A griffin in flight, wings spread, ink still damp at the tips. At Slytherin, a polished serpent pendant rests atop a closed copy of Most Potente Potions, its silver gleaming. At Ravenclaw, a scroll is weighted down by a smooth river stone, the parchment covered in elegant looping script. And thus, The Mooncalves' dance is not ward, but memory made visible. At Hufflepuff, a small basket holds 2 warm rolls wrapped in a napkin embroidered with badger tracks. A note beside it, for the night shift. P. The house elves have been here, not just cleaning, but caring. And then, the ceiling. Ah, the ceiling. Tonight, it does not mirror the stormy sky of the forest's heart, nor the star-strewn vault of the Mooncalf glade. It reflects the true sky above Hogwarts at this very moment. Soft washes of rose and apricot, streaked with lavender and pale gold. Clouds drifting like spun sugar, high and wispy. One lone star clings to the western edge. Venus, perhaps, the morning star, still bright, though fading. It is not illusion. It is truth, enchanted. A reminder. Magic does not distort reality. It reveals it. You walk slowly down the center aisle, your shadow stretching long and thin before you, merging with the stripes of dawn. You pause at the staff table. Professor Dumbledore's chair is empty, but on the seat rests a single object, a teacup, porcelain, thin as bone, white, with a delicate silver rim. Steam still rises from it in a thin, curling ribbon, vanilla-scented, with a hint of lemon verbena. Beside it, a folded note on heavy parchment, sealed with wax the color of moonstone. You do not open it. You do not need to. The message is in the steam, in the warmth of the cup, in the fact that it is here, waiting at this precise moment for you. It says, "Well done. Rest now." You turn, back down the aisle, out through the doors, into the entrance hall, where the castle's hum deepens, wraps around you like a blanket. You climb the stairs, not the moving ones, but the narrow spiral staircase tucked behind a tapestry of a sleeping badger. Lift the corner, and it yields with a rustle. These stairs are your own tonight. They do not shift. They do not test. They rise, steady and sure, to a door at the top, unmarked, unadorned, made of dark, polished wood that smells of cedar and old paper. You open it. Inside, a room. Not grand, not sparse. Yours. A 4-poster bed draped in deep blue hangings, embroidered with constellations that shimmer faintly when the moon is full. A window seat piled with cushions, velvet, wool, one patched with faded tartan, facing east, where the sky is now a clear, pale gold. A small desk holds a stack of journals, their spines cracked with use, a quill resting in an inkwell that glows softly, emerald green, like flue powder at rest. A low fire burns in the hearth, not roaring, not crackling fiercely, but glowing, amber embers pulsing gently beneath a layer of white ash, radiating heat that touches your skin like a sigh. And on the rug before the fire, a cat, not a Kneasel, not a magical hybrid, just a cat, tabby, plump, tail curled around paws, eyes closed. It does not startle as you enter, does not stir. Only its chest rises and falls, slow, deep, rhythmic, in, out, in, out. You slip off your shoes. The floor is warm wood, smooth underfoot. You cross to the window seat, sink into the cushions. The fabric is soft, worn in just the right places. You pull a quilt over your lap, stitched in the Hufflepuff colors. but with a hidden border of tiny embroidered mooncalves dancing in a spiral. Outside, the grounds awaken. A Thestral trots across the lawn, wings folded, heading toward the forest's edge. Home now, to rest. A pair of hippogriffs soar low over the lake, their cries distant and melodic, like flutes played softly at dawn. Near the greenhouses, a unicorn steps from the tree line, pauses, lifts its head, and for one breath, its horn catches the first full ray of sun, flaring into brilliant, white-gold light that spills across the grass like liquid hope. Then it lowers its head, turns, and vanishes back into the green. The forest does not end. It borders, it protects, it holds space. And you are no longer in the forest. You carry it within you. The dragon's fire, banked to embers. The mooncalves dance, echoing in your pulse. The still pool's reflection, settled in your bones. The centaur's wisdom, woven into your breath. The unicorn's light, glowing steady in your chest. This is not escape. This is integration. You lean back. The cushions cradle you. The quilt is heavy, comforting. The fire's glow paints the ceiling in soft, shifting patterns. Amber, rose, gold. The cat on the rug gives a soft murrow, stretches one paw, and settles deeper into sleep. Your eyelids grow heavy, not with exhaustion, but with permission. The castle hums, the forest sighs, the world turns, slow, sure, inevitable, toward morning. And you may rest now, for you have walked through shadow and come out bearing light. You have listened to whispers and answered with your presence. You have stood at the edge of awe and not looked away. The magical creatures of the forbidden forest do not demand worship. They ask only for witness, and you have borne witness, fully, gently, faithfully. So let the breath deepen, let the shoulders soften, let the mind, so often racing, planning, worrying, unclench, like a fist opening to release a captured firefly back into the night. The last thing you hear is not a sound, but a feeling, a vibration, deep and warm, rising from the hearth, from the floorboards, from the very stones of the castle. You are safe. You are known. You belong. And as sleep folds you in its quiet arms, the final image is not of departure, but of return. A single perfect dewdrop on a spider web beneath the castle eaves, holding in its trembling curve the entire world, safe, whole, and softly glowing in the dawn. The forest keeps its whispers for another night. For now, rest, dear friend, rest.